Hey everybody! It's episode 8 of I'm Not Confined, but I Probably Should Be. And today, we're at the movies, so it's Friday on the couch. I'm going to start off today by asking you a question. Do you like Harry Potter? Do you feel like you know and have a very firm grip on the lore of Harry Potter? Do you know what house you are? Are you a Hufflepuff? Are you a Gryffindor? Are you a Slytherin? Are you a Ravenclaw? Do you have your Patronus picked out? Do you know how to see a Hestral and what has to happen to you in order for you to be able to see a Hestral? Well, what if I told you that years before J.K. Rowling started writing Harry Potter books, there was another Harry Potter story?
Harry, this is Galwin. Galwin, this is Harry Potter.
And in this Harry Potter story, Harry Potter, an ordinary kid, is plucked out of his ordinary life by a very, very powerful and ancient witch and is trained in the ways of magic and fantastic beasts. And together, they fight against an evil troll to prevent the entire world from being cast into magical darkness. Would you say it was impossible? Would you say, no, can't be? It is. 1986, the movie was called Troll. And it is a quasi-horror movie. Not really very, very, very scary, but it's scary in the same way as Ghoulies was scary, or Gremlins. It has moments where you're like, oh, that's a little creepy, or things that you may be freaked out by. Maybe the most freaky thing is Michael Moriarty, the DA from Law and Order for years and years and years and years, doing this. Yes, that is very scary. So, the story revolves around Harry Potter
My name's Harry Potter Jr.
Jr. and Eunice, who is this very, very ancient princess turned witch.
I was a princess, and that seemed a pretty dull thing to be to me.
Who years ago, in the ancient times, stopped Turok, who was a fairy, from taking over the worlds of men and fairies and making them into a slave land. When he was stopped by powerful sorcerers, he was turned into a troll and imprisoned. Well, at the beginning of our story, Harry Potter and his family have moved into this new apartment building, and they are caught up in events beyond their circumstances. A cosmic alignment, Walpurgis Night, some sort of magical event happens that allows Turok to escape. The troll escapes. And his only purpose, his only goal, is to bring back the fairy kingdoms so that he can use them to conquer the world. Pretty much the same thing as he had in mind the first time. So in order to do that, he has to embody them inside of a small environment. And he's going to use this apartment building, which has 5 apartments in it. Once he can get each of one of the apartments converted into one of the fairy kingdoms, then he can allow the entire fairy world to escape into the greater earth. Then he can use the powers that he wants to take over. And he has a ring. And in that ring there's a needle. When he sticks somebody with that needle, they're infused with magic and transform. And their entire environment, their entire apartment changes into a new fairy kingdom. It becomes kind of like a TARDIS. It doesn't stay the same size even. It becomes a big outside area, a whole thing. The first thing that he does when he escapes is he finds Wendy, who is Harry Potter's sister, and he captures her and doppelgangs her. He makes himself look like her, and she is key to his plan. She has to be the last remaining person alive to fulfill this prophecy. Then she will be the fairy princess, the princess of the fairies, and that's supposed to be a crossbreed issue. She's supposed to be human and be the princess of the fairies. I don't know how it works, but that's the lore. The lore is that
He will save one token specimen, a fair-haired maiden, and she will serve as the princess of the fairies.
so he's kidnapped her and kind of hidden her off in a Sleeping Beauty kind of Snow White glass casket kind of, you're over there. And in the meantime, he's pretending to be her, and that's how he's gaining access to all these other people and their apartments, because nobody bats an eye at a 7-year-old girl running around being cute, except her brother, who notices that something is wrong.
She looks like my sister. She acts like my sister. She even sounds like my sister, but...
So it's basically a fight, good against evil, with Harry Potter on the good side and the troll on the bad side. And magic, fantasy, all fun. So the movie's fine. It's not great. It's not one of my favorites or anything like that. It's just, I thought it was fun, the Harry Potter tie-in, and thought I'd throw that at you for a loop. Not very scary. The puppetry, it's most of those creatures are created through puppetry, and I would be very surprised to find out that this movie and the movie Ghoulies, if they were not produced by the same company, because there is some serious crossover between the creatures that they have in this movie and that creatures that are in that. As well, the troll himself was much better puppet, but much better put together puppet, especially in the close-ups. They did a very good job with that, but he's very reminiscent of Hoggle from Labyrinth, which I thought is pretty interesting. Labyrinth would have come out that same year, I think, 86. Somewhere around there. They're very close together. It's got a couple of known stars in it. This has Elaine from Seinfeld in one of her earlier roles, playing a beautiful ingenue. And it's got former pop star and not long after this, member of U.S. Congress, Sonny Bono. Also shares former husband.
Ball guy. I know I'm getting it tonight.
No, you're not.
Also, as we've seen, as he's Michael Moriarty from Law and Order. Even the kid who plays Harry Potter is Atreyu from The Neverending Story. Same actor. So we have some people with some chops. It's not that the acting isn't terrible, the scripting isn't terrible. It's just that sometimes it gets a little bit funky, and they didn't put a whole lot of money into it because I guess that makes sense to a certain extent. Oh, they did do something that is super amazing that I really appreciated. And I think movies should do this a lot more often, is that they used Eunice, in the beginning of the movie, she starts off as an older lady, um, probably 60s ish, 70, in there, and but looking good. I mean, she's got style, and she's looking good. Um, but she's supposed to be immortal and affects her own appearance based on what she wants to look like. Um, and later on, when we go into the battle scene, she adopts her true form, which is her younger version.
I hope so. Torok, you harm one hair on Harry's head, and I'll make your life a living hell for all eternity.
Her younger self is played by her daughter, and I thought that was just. I mean, they are doppelgangers for each other. And I thought that from the very first time I ever saw this movie. I thought to myself, wow, that is an amazing job. That they got an actress who looks just the same, and then I found out they were mother and daughter, and that made a lot more sense. And I don't know why more movies don't do that. There are an awful lot of people who are legacy celebrities. They've got their parents in the business, and instead of aging them up using makeup and prosthetics that often make them look strange and weird, why wouldn't you just cast their parent? You know, that's a good example to think of Harry Potter again. That scene at the end when they're on the train platform, bunch of teenage kids that they wanted to age them up into the 30s, and it just didn't play right. To me, it didn't play right. It looked false. So I gave that a big thumbs up for that particular moment. I like the segmentation of this. This has it's almost like video game levels, and that I like movies that do that sometimes. Is that you have this goal that the troll has. He has to go from floor to floor to apartment and conquer each one of the different tenants of the apartment and take over their territory. It's a very interesting reversal because most of the time you have the hero trying to conquer the stages, and in this one it's the villain trying to conquer the stages, and then the hero trying to catch up after him, which I thought was pretty interesting. I enjoyed that, and the different worlds are just fun too. It's fun to see them create, a world full of elves, and create a world full of nymphs, and create a world full of little fairy monsters, and it's fun. Magic and fantasy is always fun. There was a sequel to this made, but it is widely considered to be the worst movie ever made. Which is weird, because this was not that bad. This is actually a pretty good movie when you come right down to it. But I don't know what went wrong in the second one. I've not seen the second one, but I've heard stories and tell about it for years. Just nonsensical plot, filled with ridiculous special effects that are bad, and that's one of the good things about this movie, is that they really understood that their special effects were underwhelming, so they made special consideration to make them look as good as possible, and didn't highlight them in a way that made them seem like they were really foreign. They did a good job of covering some of the financial pitfalls that they might have had, which I respect. Too many movies, they get caught up in the idea of, well, if they're looking at that, then they're looking at the wrong thing. And that's not a good attitude to have, because people who like a movie, they're going to watch it more than one time, and they're going to catch these little things that you think are extraneous and pointless. And if you're good at what you do, and you find you have a problem, you should try and fix it. You should not try and highlight something that's, oh, there's a wire showing. Oh, well, they're not looking at that. Somebody's going to look at it. Somebody's going to see it. I'm not talking about something that's made an error and somebody doesn't catch it. I'm talking about something that you see and for sure. Oh, but they don't care. This does a good job of really trying to play with the strengths it has and bring down the weaknesses it might have. That's clever camera angles, and that's close-ups and things that in profile or in landscape would seem out of place. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to call it a pretty good movie. I think 2 thumbs up might be a lot for this, just because of its cheap nature, but knowing what it is key to this. You know, you have to know what it is going in, and you go in knowing that it's kind of a B movie, B plus movie, A minus movie. You know, it's a kids horror movie. That's the point. It's not supposed to be, you know, great like that. It's supposed to be fun, and it is. So I give it the 2 thumbs up. What do you guys give it?
Well, I didn't hate it, so that was a pleasant surprise.
Those rat burgers, they seem fun.
What works?
What works for what?
What works now?
Hey, bring back those rat burgers.
Upstairs.
Okay, so I guess that's 4 out of 6. So you should check this out if you get a chance. Maybe don't go crazy about going to find it, but if you come across it, I think you'll like it. So that's episode 8 of I'm Not Confined, but I Probably Should Be. Please remember, like, share, subscribe. You know how to do it. Got to get those subscribers up. And yeah, we will see you next time. Coming soon, Action Figure Theater. You're gonna love that one.